Hello, my name is Bishop Warford, and today in Crash Course History, we're going to be talking about the Great Depression. So the first question I have is, what's so great about the Great Depression? Let's talk about what the Great Depression was. Mr. Warford, is the Great Depression that time we almost set a teacher on fire? Know me from the past, even though that was quite depressing. When you think of the Great Depression, you probably think of Herbert Hoover, who was the president at the time. President Hoover did not even touch the issue of the Great Depression. In actuality, he pushed it to the free market. Hoover shook things up even more. He made two grave mistakes. One was keeping wage rates the same, and two was not allowing companies to lay off workers. Well, over the course of the next several years, prices for industrial goods declined. So here came Hoover again with another great idea. He signed what it was called the Smoot-Hawley Traffic Act.
Bishop, it's tariff. Tariff.
Essentially, this act raised tariffs on imports, which were the highest they've ever been in 100 years. Oh, Hoover. Well, why is this such a big deal? Well, let's just remember the golden rule. This caused our traders to place a high tariff on American goods. Once again, good job, Hoover. Hoover continued to refuse to lower wages and increase layoffs, but eventually the government took over and wages were decreased while many people were laid off. The effects of this was horrifying. Unemployment rates went from 3.1% in 1929 to a staggering 23.6% in 1932. More than 3.2 million people were unemployed. All right, let's go back to Thought Bubble. Let's talk about Andrea Erickson Wallens, whose family owned a farm in Illinois which was called Barbert's Corner. The Great Depression affected them directly in 1934. The Wallens were forced to move. The Great Depression took huge toll on farmers in particular. Expensive farm equipment was needed for mass production of food for soldiers in their communities. As the Great Depression rolled around, these expensive tools caused farmers to be in a huge amount of debt. As time progressed and people began to see the effects of the Great Depression, people ran out of money to buy food. This completely crushed the farming industry. And families such as the Wallens were left without work, a home, and basic resources. Thank you, Thought Bubble. Alright, so now to end it off, the Great Depression saw Franklin D. Roosevelt take office in 1933. Of March 1933, he actually implemented his plans. In the first 100 days, he ended the Prohibition, and then he implemented the Tennessee Valley Authority Act, which created hydroelectric power and stopped floodings and created jobs. And now it's time for an open letter. All right, now it's time for an open letter to Money. Money, why are you so useless? Germany would literally burn you just to get heat. It'll take buckets and buckets of you just for bread.
Many people don't pay attention to the rest of the world when it comes to the Great Depression. But let me enlighten you. There were many other countries than the United States of America that were affected by the Depression. When the stock market crashed in 1929, Germany was directly affected by this because they depended a lot on foreign trade, especially from the United States. Germany also depended heavily on American loans. When the United States asked for Germany to pay them back, Germany's finances dried up and Germany's economy crashed. Due to inflation, goods got expensive and middle-class families no longer existed and became poor. China was affected socially. Inflation undermined the cultural and economic fabric of society, bringing a social chaos and revolution. What made this worse is that China had no central banks at all. Close to China is a little island country known as Japan. Japan at the time was not like most other countries after World War I. Their economy was doing fairly decent after the war. Japan was able to keep their economy because of how sturdy their parliament was. But over time, just like everyone else, they started to feel the best of the Great Depression. 1992 through 1931 seen Japanese exports stopped by 50%. Their government was so stressed that they had to turn into a totalitarian state. These are just a few of the countries that were affected by the world crisis.
What was so great about the Great Depression? Well, its aftermath was so great. Its aftermath saw pensions and public housings being created and also making the foundation for minimum wage. My name is Bishop Warford. Another crash course. We also have to thank our graphic specialist Zaya. We also have to thank our vocal creator Greg. We have to write We have to have We have to It was like a block.